Hi, and welcome to another episode of Can't Stop the Growth. I'm your host, Chad Peterman, and today we have a very special guest. One of our plumbing maintenance technician, Zach Rates, is joining us today to talk about growing in the field and also how he helps his team achieve more. It's a very unique department that we have here at Peterman, and Zach plays a huge role in getting technicians trained and on board and running in the right direction. So welcome, Zach.
Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to start out, Zach, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, how you came to where you are now?
So, I when I was in high school, college was pushed on me real heavy. Nobody in my family had ever gone to college, and in my head, I believe that college was really the only route for me to take in life. And in my junior year of high school, I had a lot of personal issues that had happened. So I wound up actually withdrawing myself and enrolling into online classes to finish my high school out and get into working. And I started working at age 17, just doing fast food and getting by. And then I eventually moved into trades. And during those, while I was working in trades, I enrolled myself in college as well. And from when I enrolled in college, I realized that, you know, I love to speak to people and love speaking with others. My goal was to get into psychology. And I loved mental health and I loved learning about mental health, but I realized that there was still a passion there to work with my hands. So after working numerous different trade jobs, most of them being new construction, I, I finally applied to be the plumbing maintenance technician here. And it really is sort of a best of both worlds. I get to combine the aspects of psychology in a way, while also working with my hands when I'm out in the field, where I get to talk to people and also help people's issues with plumbing in the same setting.
Absolutely. I think you bring up a great point as, just kind of explaining. Obviously, there's a ton of different lines within the trades that you can go into. You've been in a couple of them, new construction, where you're just kind of out on a job site. And then there's residential service. What would you say that you mentioned kind of the best of both worlds, being able to work with your hands and, being able to talk to the customer? What would you say is kind of most fulfilling out there in kind of the residential space that you're in now?
I think it's a number of things that really fulfill my, career, the goals that I want to accomplish while I'm out in the field. But I think one of the most fulfilling things to me is, yes, I'm there to assist with their issues that they're having with their plumbing, but there's been countless times where I've helped people in just their day-to-day life by just sitting and having a conversation with them to just see how they're doing and just to see, you know, what's happening in their life or what issues they may be having and how I might be able to help them in that short little hour to 2 hour period of time that they're taking out of their day to spend with me. I've sat down at a kitchen table with customers a few different times just to talk with them and see how they're doing and really help them out. And I think that's one of the more fulfilling parts of my job is being able to help people just outside of the realm of plumbing, more so with just day-to-day life and mental health.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that, um, I think some people that come into the trades and don't really understand, especially as it relates to residential service, how much of an impact you can have on others and their daily lives. Oftentimes, the trades are just associated with, I got to work with my hands, I got to fix things. Well, yes, there is a component of that, and yes, we need to be, educated and qualified and trained to do those particular repairs. But it's very difficult uh, to do the repair if we never earn the trust of the customer. What are those other things that you do during the course of a call to build that trust and rapport with the customer so that they know that and feel comfortable with you providing them with solutions?
Yeah. One thing that's really helped me out is the Nexstar process and Nexstar in general. Um, it, when just recently when I had went to those courses, they really brought up some great points on how to connect more with your customer and be more open and honest with what you're doing in the home, and just being upfront, saying, hey, going through the agenda card, I want to look at your issue, diagnose it, give you options. We can talk about options and sort of go from there. But not only that, just taking the time to not rush through and just go straight to the point of concern, like being a clog, taking the time to just talk with them and build that friendship, asking how their day is, talking about just little things like, what breed is their dog, or like they have a nice garden gnome connection collection, whatever it may be. Just building those little blocks of trust and friendship just early on, having those small conversations really go a long way while you're out there in a customer's home.
Absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things we try to do is to teach that skill of listening, of understanding that there's a bigger problem than the clog in their kitchen sink. The problem is they have anxiety, they have other things going on in their life, and this has been thrown at them, and they don't know how to fix it. And that's why they called us to come out there and provide them with a proper solution. And a lot of times those solutions come in the form of options. Is we want to give the customer a number of different things that they can use, from a band-aid all the way to a permanent solution, depending on what they want to do during that particular day. um, One of the things, Zach, that I think is particularly unique about you is your role in the development of our plumbing maintenance team. Um, uh, what is it that what are some of the things you do when it comes to helping others on your team?
I try to connect with them as much as I possibly can, um, rather than just being, I guess, the senior plumbing maintenance tech. I'd much rather be their friend and coach them as much as I can. There was this really good quote that I seen, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit, but leaders don't just strive to just be leaders; they strive to make a difference. And that's one thing that I try to do when I'm training these new plumbing maintenance techs coming in is I want to strive to make a difference. I want to strive to show them that not only myself, but Peterman as a whole can make a difference career wise. And, with our new class from the top tech students coming in, um, from all of them, I have all their numbers. We're always talking, not only about work, just about life. And it's just a great thing when you build that friendship with your team to where you're not just, oh, hey, I can go to this guy for how to diagnose this mainline issue, but I can also go to this guy on what's going on with my life, or what's a good thing to deal with, a colicky baby or something like that. Just to where I'm more than just their coworker. And that's something that I strive to do when I'm training these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we talk about leadership and what it truly means, I think you hit the nail on the head with, it's about caring. If we can show the care and compassion for the people on our team, they're going to want to follow us, because they know that someone cares. It's very similar to, any role model that we may have in our lives, is that the main reason that we want to follow them is at some point in time they have probably shown us a gesture of care, and have taken us under their wing, to show us, where to go, how to get there, whatever it may be. Who are some of those people in your life? Obviously you're still pretty darn young, but who are some of those people in your life that you look to as kind of role models?
So, um, growing up, I really didn't have a whole lot of role models. I had a pretty rough childhood and pretty rough past going into it. Most of my role models had actually come from um, just my extracurricular activities and even here at work. I think my biggest role model growing up was my old basketball coach, Bobby Brown. He he really instilled in me that a work ethic is extremely important when I lacked that when I was younger. Um, he instilled in me just common values growing up, like having patience, being trustworthy, having that work ethic, like I had talked about. And as those are just basic values, but to me, they went a long way for me that I had somebody there just to teach me those little things when I didn't have it before. And as I got into trades and as I got into my job, um, more and more people just started teaching me more and more things. And here at Peterman, Jeremy and Bailey, yourself included, all have been great role models to me in just teaching me different things such as leadership, craftsmanship, how to work better in a team setting, just so many different things that I'm still learning more and more from everybody here at Peterman every day. Just on things to get better at in not only in my career but in life as well.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great, and I appreciate the compliment as well. I think that's what ultimately, we're all trying to create here. If we can create a place where, everybody's learning from each other. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different experiences. We all have different skills and abilities. But if we're open to sharing those, if we're open to, really utilizing those to benefit others, we all grow. I'm a firm believer in that if you want to get to a certain place, if you give to others, you'll get there a heck of a lot faster, because it's going to take a lot of people to achieve a big goal. No one has ever achieved anything worthwhile by themselves. What do you guys do on the plumbing maintenance team? You've spoken a little bit about it, but what are some of those things that you think brings you guys close together and makes you a really good team out there in the field?
I think it's how well we all have gotten along and created friendships. It sounds really corny saying it like that, I feel like, but we're all just a big group of friends and working together out there in the field. And especially in our meetings that we have together, it's so much fun just bouncing new ideas off of each other and listening and learning from everybody there. And there's no like alpha factor. I feel like in our team, nobody feels like they're better than one another in our team. Everybody is real level headed. Everybody's real calm and patient with everybody. If somebody has a question, nobody's going to put them down for having a dumb question, even though there's no such thing as one. But um, everybody, and it just goes back to everybody just is friends with one another, and it's a really awesome environment when your team is bonded together so closely that it just makes working together so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, hats off to you guys in really all of our, people that are, you know, work and creating a team is one thing, but it's a completely different animal when most days you're never seeing each other. You're out in your own truck, running your own calls, and to be able to create that type of bond and that type of teamwork is really a tribute to you guys, wanting to make that work. And I think that's really the power of where we see this department heading in the right direction, is because we've got a lot of the right people in place that understand that they can lean on each other, and leverage the knowledge of the group over the knowledge of each person individually. What are some things that you're doing right now, kind of personally, or just checking out, that are things that you're really working on, that you're seeing a positive impact on, as far as your growth as a leader, or just in general life?
So one thing that I've really started doing recently is something that I learned in the Next Start training that I just recently gone to, and that's doing 5-5-20s. That's really helped me, just in the mornings, and being a better person and being a better leader is, waking up, writing down my goals, writing down what I want to accomplish, things I'm grateful for, um, and doing just those 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and waking up early enough to be able to accomplish all of that. That was one thing that I really struggled with before in the past, is um, not being a morning person. And I've always struggled with completing New Year's resolutions, but my New Year's resolution this year was to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and be able to um, accomplish what I want to do in the morning, and actually get myself up and ready to go and motivated in the morning to attack the rest of the day. And so far, I've done good at it, and I've noticed a huge difference just in my mood and how I'm able to just. I feel like I'm more patient as well. Just waking up earlier and doing that 5-5-20. Um, I'm just more patient. I'm more eager and ready to learn. I feel like my brain's grown like three sizes just from doing that little thing. It just feels like I can attack the world in a whole different way now. And it's weird just saying that little thing has changed so much, but it really has.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit more about the 5-5-20. I think that's extremely powerful concept that Nexstar teaches. Tell everybody a little bit more about that.
Yeah, yeah. So when we had learned about it, so our instructor, his name was Bobby, or is Bobby. But how it was presented to us and how it was shown, um, he actually set it up in two different ways for us. So um, he showed a 5-5-20 as a life goal and also as a day-to-day goal. So one of the things that we had wrote up in Nexstar was 5 things that we just want to accomplish in life in general, 5 ways to get to those goals. And um, we set that up, and I had actually laminated mine just so I can see those goals from a day-to-day point, to see how close I'm getting to that, how I'm going to go about it. But every morning when I wake up, um, I write out that 5-5-20. I put 5 goals, 5 things that I want to accomplish today, 5 things that I'm grateful for as well, um, just to see, just to help motivate me. And it's not always the same thing either. And that was one thing that um, Bobby really wanted to focus on. It's real easy to put on there, like, I'm grateful for my wife, my kids, my home, money situation, whatever it is. But how he explained it, and what's really helped me, is diving in a little bit more as to what you're grateful for. Finding those little things that make your life go a little bit easier. And even if it's just, oh, hey, I forgot to turn all the lights off in my home today. um, marking that down as something you're grateful for because you've been wanting to do that, or you got to finish the show you've been watching, or finish the book you've been wanting to read, or whatever it is. Writing down those little things that you're grateful for to help push you more and more every day. And then also doing the how we did it is 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, helping get your blood moving in the morning, helping you get in that right mindset to get going and attack the day as well. But yeah, that's the long gist of it.
That's awesome. No, that's perfect. That is, as some of you may know, the morning routine is my favorite subject of all things high performance, because I do think it is the most critical thing that you can possibly do. And for as Zach said, he wasn't a morning person, but I can guarantee you that if you are not a morning person, if you would like to become one, the best way to do that is the 5-5-20, because the minute that you start writing down those 5 things you want to accomplish, especially those 5 things that you are grateful for, and then get the blood moving, you'll wake up, you'll be ready to go, and you'll have a kind of passion about going about the day because you've got direction. Most people on a daily basis are waking up, hitting the snooze, and then rushing around to try to get everything done, only to get to the end of the day and realize they haven't accomplished anything. We only get a certain amount of days on this earth. And if we fail to use one, well, that is somewhat of a day wasted. Not that we can't rest or take a break or go on vacation or anything, but sitting down and reflecting on what you're grateful for, I think, is one of the most powerful exercises. As Zach explained, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but really dive deep. I think I wrote down this morning, I'm thankful for momentum. And as we think about momentum, and you think about starting a new habit, as Zach has, of waking up at 5 a.m., it probably wasn't easy the first day. It was probably even harder the second day, probably even harder the third day. But what you'll find is that you create momentum. And when you create momentum, it then becomes a habit, and you no longer have to think about it. I've got a feeling that by, March, he'll be waking up at 5 a.m. and he'll be waking at 5 a.m. on a Saturday, on a Sunday, because he wants to get to his day. That's just the type of person he is. So thanks for sharing that, Zach. That's a great tip for anybody looking to get their day started off. And I think it's even a fantastic tip as it relates to, one of our core values here at Peterman is lead ourselves. And to me, the 5-5-20 is no better representation of leading ourselves. It's how do you bring yourself, how do you show up in the world? How do you show up for your team? And the crazy part about it is that while Zach is the one waking up, while he is the one writing down his goals and writing down what he is grateful for and doing his push-ups and sit-ups, that's affecting everybody on his team. And what we have to understand about leadership is leading ourselves, showing up in the world as a better person, is going to rub off on people. It's going to affect people. It's going to raise us to levels that people want to follow us. People are going to hear this and they are going to want to do it because they heard that Zach is doing it. That is leadership. It doesn't matter where you're at in an organization. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter about anything. All that matters is you make the effort to show up. You have the courage to get up and do something that most are unwilling to do, because you know that you'll show up better for everybody else, not only yourself. So, with that, as we kind of draw to an end here, Zach, is there anything else that you'd like to share that has been beneficial to you, or helped in your growth and leadership, or just in your career, or anything like that, as we kind of wrap up here?
Yeah. So, as of recent, especially with this new year, waking up at 5, having more time in my day. One thing that I've found that has helped me out a lot is finding some sort of escape from um, just focusing too much on one thing. So um, my my wife has accused me of this, but I'm a workaholic. So I come home and I focus so much on work and um, trying to find new ways to do things or work on different things with my cables or whatever it is. But I found sort of an escape of getting away from that stuff and trying to reset my mind a little bit when I get home from work. And that's actually been reading. That's actually helped me out a lot. And, I'll read throughout my day between calls. For example, the book that you had given me by Jack, um, I've been reading that quite a bit. I sort of took a break for a little bit, but then I got back onto it. But one thing that I do when I get home is I actually read some sort of fiction book to sort of help reset my body and reset my mind. And that's helped me a lot in my day to day, just to get better and give my mind a fresh new slate to start going into tomorrow's day whenever I go to attack it. So that's just something that's helped me and help out.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's a great point. Sometimes we can get so wrapped up in that. A reset here and there is always good. Kind of freshens you out. I'm a huge fan of like the 3-day vacation, kind of 3-day getaway, short vacation, which is always nice. Not a big fan of the long ones, but short ones, nice breath is always good. But no, that sounds great. I guess I'll ask you one more question if you're willing. You said you wrote down five big goals. What's one of those big goals that you've got? And so we can see if we can help you out in achieving one of those.
One of my big goals that I got two, I guess. One of the shorter term ones that I've really been focusing on more than any of the other ones is it sort of goes back to leadership, but being a manager in the future, building those stepping stones now, reading the books, seeing how to be a better leader, stuff like that. Those are one of the shorter term goals that I've been working towards. And I guess one of the longer term ones is I really want a lake house. So that's one of my longer term ones is getting a lake house.
Awesome. No, those are both fantastic. And I think the key thing that you said there that everybody can take note of is, I've already started going there. So many people find themselves waiting until that promotion or waiting until, well, I've got the experience. I've been here. Well, what have you been doing over that 2-year time frame that you've been here? And I think that you're a great example of, just reading 10 pages today is going to make you, while it's a small step, big goals are achieved by a lot of small steps. And that's daily routines, that's daily practice, whether it's reading or learning or helping somebody, whatever it is, it's those small steps that will take you to those big goals. So I'm excited to see what the future holds here. I know that we've got a brand new leadership program that I believe you're involved with here rolling out in a couple of weeks, which is going to be awesome. I'm really excited to dive into that and get a group of people who, much like yourselves, want to take that next step into leadership and different things like that. So I think that's just going to be tremendous. Hopefully, much like you're doing in the plumbing maintenance department, as a collective group, we can lean on each other to learn even more than we can on our own. So Zach, thanks for being on the podcast today, and we'll talk to you in the future and do everything we can to help you achieve those goals. Sound good?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next time.